This is a gigantic fraud loophole where the government can give money to an NGO, and then that there are no controls over that NGO. So they've given billions of dollars, in fact, we estimate tens of billions of dollars to NGOs that are essentially scams.
We've also effectively ended the left-wing scam known as USAID, the agency's name.
It wasn't debated in Congress. No warning. No transition plan. Elon Musk and Donald Trump are now being credited, some say blamed, for ending a massive American program overnight. This isn't just about USAID. It's about America's global grip and what happens when it slips. For those who don't know USAID, the United States Agency for International Development was America's largest arm of foreign aid. It pumped over $50 billion a year into global projects. In 2023 alone, $2.8 billion went to Ukraine, $1.6 billion to Ethiopia, $500 million to Afghanistan, and billions more spread across Latin America, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. USAID says it helps with food, medicine, and peace. But critics say it comes with a price. But wait, the president has his own version.
$22 billion from HHS to provide free housing and cars for illegal aliens. $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is. $8 million to promote LGBTQI+ in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. $60 million for indigenous peoples and Afro-Colombian empowerment in Central America. $60 million. $8 million for making mice transgender. This is real. $32 million for a left-wing propaganda operation in Moldova. $10 million for male circumcision in Mozambique. $20 million for the Arab Sesame Street in the Middle East. It's a program. $20 million for a program. $1.9 billion to recently created Decarbonization of Homes Committee, headed up, and we know she's involved. Just at the last moment, the money was passed over by a woman named Stacey Abrams. Have you ever heard of her? A $3.5 million consulting contract for lavish fish monitoring. $1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia. $14 million for social cohesion in Mali. $59 million for illegal alien hotel rooms in New York City. He's a real estate developer. He's done very well. $250,000 to increase vegan local climate action innovation in Zambia. $42 million for social and behavior change in Uganda. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. Asia's doing very well with learning. We know what we're doing. Should use it ourselves.
Still, most agree it came with a price.
Washington wants control of all of Ukraine's critical resources. They've sent a new draft deal to Kiev. Top Ukrainian officials and international media have seen it, and they say it goes far beyond the previous agreement. Here's what the United States has demanded: complete control of Ukraine's natural resources, oil, gas, minerals, everything.
In parts of the world, especially in Africa, the reaction was unexpected.
How is Africa feeling this moment? Do you see this as a story of tragedy, or is there something else that we need to be looking at?
I think there's something else we need to be looking at. There is need for readjustments. There is need for realignment. We need to understand the real reason why USAID is in Africa. And not just USAID, but other NGOs. You look at DFID, which is the British equivalent, and many other smaller ones. Their sole purpose was to act as if they're coming to rescue Africa. They are coming in claiming that they're introducing grassroots initiatives that are going to help the people. And so they use that as a way to go into the most remote parts of Africa. They're talking about government advocacy. When you look at it on paper, it all looks really good. But they're actually wolf in sheep's clothing. They are using that open access sounding humanitarian to constantly destabilize governments. I can tell you right now, the majority of African leaders, and not just African leaders, but leaders in the developing world, are celebrating the exit of USAID.
According to her, they don't need USAID. She demands to know their success rate and accuses others just like them of injecting Africans with HIV and using them as guinea pigs.
For example, filling in the gaps in healthcare and education. Where is the change? Show me one country that USAID was in and education improved. Show me what country where USAID was in and healthcare improved. Exploitation of African minerals was actually the biggest funder of the European Recovery Plan, ERP, aka the Marshall Plan. US contributed $13 billion, which is now present day $175 billion, which, by the way, the American taxpayer must be paid back. Nobody's asking for that money back. But what they don't tell you is that Africa, through exploitation of its resources by the Europeans, was actually a much, much bigger contribution to the European recovery post-World War II. Nobody talks about that. Why does such a continent that did so much to help Europe recover continue to be so poor? Let's be realistic here. Let's not talk about peanuts. Africa does not need the aid. What we need is for those who are exploiting Africa to stop. Let's look at what HIV/AIDS was used to do. We know of a program that was run out of South Africa where they actually were injecting people with the virus. The reason some of the AIDS virus spread as rapidly as it did in Southern Africa, there were some very dirty games being played on African people. They were using Africans as guinea pigs for experimental activities.
Those are serious claims. So we pulled the thread, and it unraveled more than we expected.
Can we I just do the question again, and then you can pop in?
Yeah.
You mentioned actively spreading AIDS?
There was a unit in from SIMA that one of the things was that we went into African countries.
And how was that done exactly?
Through inoculation.
Through vaccines?
Yeah, through vaccines. Pretending to inoculate people and that type of thing.
The idea being to kill black people?
Yeah, to eradicate black people. You must understand the concept was that AIDS was a killer. It was incurable at that point in time, so it was led to believe that if infected people, it was the quick, non-militaristic approach to eliminate black people.
And that is something you know for a fact, that AIDS was actively being spread to other countries?
Yes, to African countries.
But not everyone is cheering. While others accuse the agency of backing political agendas and foreign control, health workers, teachers, and local contractors say they were blindsided. Tens of thousands of jobs tied to USAID are now gone.
I'm a public servant always, and you can take my title away, you can take my salary away, but I work for the public good.
I've been telling myself I'm not going to cry today because I don't want to give them that satisfaction. I think a lot of hurt and disrespect. The way that this was done was very dehumanizing. You can disagree with what we may have been doing on a political standpoint, but we're people and we're humans.
I lost my job as a contractor for USAID about a week and a half ago. It feels terrible. I mean, I've been working for USAID for over 20 years, and Tuesday night I got an email that I was fired, effective immediately, and I had to find health insurance in 3 days. Not to mention, I moved down here to work in D.C., now I have to move back to Massachusetts and figure out the rest of my life.
So, why was it cut so suddenly? A viral clip shows one official saying bluntly, "There is no Department of Elon in this government."
No one elected Elon Musk to nothing.
When we open up the Senate every single morning, we don't pledge allegiance to Elon Musk.
This is the most corrupt bargain we've ever seen in American history. Elon Musk.
Donald Trump must, by law, fire Elon Musk.
Yet somehow, a billionaire and a president unraveled a massive global program. No legislative fight. No strategic handover. Just gone. Vaccination programs, HIV treatment, disaster response, all pulled instantly. For some, it's a win against foreign dependency, but others call it geopolitical abandonment. Take Ukraine. Losing USAID support now could affect war relief and infrastructure. Or Haiti, once stabilized by American dollars, now spiraling again. And even if USAID had its flaws, were all those people supposed to just lose overnight? This wasn't just about cutting aid. It was about cutting ties. Will the world really adjust? Or is something bigger unraveling?